Hey there, Internet Best Buddies, it's me, Ray, and I wanted to do a follow-up on the whole A Dog's Purpose, My Thoughts. So I wanted to start by kind of apologizing for the last video. It was really my first attempt at doing this kind of content, and I was still a little riled up from the initial video of the dog being forced into the water. I really wasn't as thorough as I should have been, and I really should have analyzed the video a lot better. So I want to promise that I will do my best to do better in the future. I'm only human, so stuff's gonna fall through the cracks, clearly. But I will do my best to do better. The reason I wanted to do a part 2 to this is because I feel it's very important to clarify about what I feel actually happened now that I have more of the information. And I also wanted to wait till there was more information available to do a second part to this and to just wrap it all up. In case you missed the first video showing my reactions and initial thoughts, pretty much the day after the video showing the alleged abuse was released. So if you want, I'm leaving a link in the description to the first my thoughts on this topic. Again, I'm not going to show the actual dog being thrown into the water or anything like that. I don't really want to give it more views than it needs at this point, since it's clearly a fake video. So let's begin. To recap the whole controversy in case somehow you missed it, there's a video that was released by TMZ that shows a trainer trying to force the dog into the water. The dog looks like it's struggling really bad, doesn't want to do it. Then there's actually a cut to what appears to be a separate incident of the dog going down the rapids for the scene and hitting the end of the set and going underwater. They showed that everybody was immediately diving in to get the dog to safety. So they ended up releasing this a couple days before the film's actual release. This caused a huge issue. Clearly PETA got involved. People were calling for boycotts of the movie, which I don't believe in the first video I called for at all. I don't think you should ever boycott a movie unless there's something legitimately bad going on that's been confirmed. They had to cancel the premiere of the movie. There were statements released from the producer, the actors, the directors. All sorts of people got involved in this. You can see in the first video I did on this topic and in the comments and all sorts of stuff like that. I honestly didn't know if it was real. The American Humane Association, I believe it was, put their representative on suspension, which isn't too much of a red flag because if there's something going on like that, you need to at least suspend the person so they're not continuing to do that. So now there have been more articles released. I'll read them to you guys. I'll leave links for the articles in the description as well. The American Humane Association had a third party come in and do an investigation. The big bullet points I'll read to you, and then I'll delve a little more into the actual meat of the articles. The first bullet point, like I said, the video was clearly and deliberately edited to mislead everybody into thinking it was a continuous shot, which it definitely wasn't. I read an article earlier that said one of the reasons why the dog may have been reacting to the water in such a way was because they kind of changed up the way they were doing the stunt and made it a little bit of a higher elevation. So the dog was trained to do the one stunt, and they slightly edited it, and the dog just wasn't having it. The two scenes shown in the edited video were filmed at different times. The first scene in the video was stopped after the dog's signs of stress, and he wasn't forced to swim after that point. So, yeah, it was from two separate occasions. The next big bullet point basically goes over all the different precautions that they go through for these dogs and for these animals. Very thorough from what it looks like. Safety meetings to reinforce the safety precautions and protocols. The dog that was selected, I believe his name was Hercules. He loves water. He's professionally trained. Conditions for water scenes over the course of 6 weeks, and positive training techniques. There were 5 experts, including one of the American Humane's certified animal safety representatives. And then, as shown in the second scene, handlers immediately assisted the dog out of the water, at which point he was placed in a warming tent and received an examination that found no signs of stress. And then after the whole filming process, a veterinary checked on the dog and everything was good to go for him. They do later go on to say that the American Humane believes that the handling of the dog in that first scene should have been a little more gentle. The second article I have here from The Verge, it basically echoes the same statements as in the first article I just read to you guys. They go on to say that they're not too sure if the video released affected the film's box office all that much. I think it might have. I honestly do. I mean, my girlfriend was really into seeing the movie, and then after seeing the video, she was completely turned off to it. So who knows? If enough people were like that, yeah, it could have. So for The Dog's Purpose, according to Box Office Mojo, it had a production budget of about $22 million. For those of you that don't know the general rules of how to figure out how much a movie is actually making, the production budget is one thing, and then there's a marketing budget, which for the most part you equate to about equal. And then 33% of the film's gross profit goes to the actual theaters showing the movie. So as of February 5th, the film has grossed about $43 million or so. On the first weekend it released, so January 27th to 29th, it had a domestic weekend gross of a little over $18 million. So then February 3rd to the 5th, the second weekend it was out, it grossed about close to $11 million, which is about a 41% drop, which really isn't terrible for a movie's second weekend. It had a lot of competition from movies that a lot of people weren't expecting, like Split. So for my own insanity, I made a rough formula for figuring out what a movie's actual profit is. The production budget was about $22 million. Marketing budgets are never really specified, and a film could do more than the estimate or less. So It's really kind of up in the air, but the general rule is that it's equal to the production budget. The marketing budget's $22 million as well, just as a rough estimate. And then you have the theater's cut of 33%. So right now the film roughly costs about $58 million. With the worldwide box office being roughly at $43 million after the second weekend, the film right now has about a $16 million deficit it needs to make up. They could easily make their money back on the movie. I definitely don't think it'll be as profitable as it could have been because of the video that was released. I personally won't see it, like I said in the first video, because I couldn't handle Marley and Me with one dog dying. I'm not going to be able to watch like 5 dogs die. I just can't do it. So what I think the reasoning for the release of the video was one of 4 things. Number 1, it's just some person who thought that the dogs were being mistreated or mishandled or thought that there was some animal cruelty. I don't buy that at all. If that's the case, they wouldn't have had to edit the video and they would have released it way sooner. Number 2, I think that this could just be an employee trying to damage the film in a very crucial way. Maybe a disgruntled employee, maybe they got fired or something, but I don't really know. Number 3, the employee just wanted to make some money on the side. And then number 4, it could be both 2 and 3. It could just be an employee that was super pissed off because maybe they got fired or maybe something happened on set and they also just wanted to make money. Honestly, I think it's number 3. I think they just wanted to make money, or it's just an employee wanted to make a lot more money off the movie than what they were already getting paid for their work. If this was a case of an employee caring about an animal, then they would have probably alerted the proper channels a lot sooner and not made a video that then they sold to TMZ for however much money. Like I said earlier, when I do more topic videos, I want to be more thorough like this on the initial output. I don't want to have things fall through the cracks, although some things will. But then again, also, a lot of the information wasn't released at that time, and they were just starting their investigation. So, live and learn, I guess. So if you haven't already, definitely go down and subscribe so you can stay up to date with all the content I put out. And definitely leave a comment letting me know what you think after all this information was released. Thanks again for watching, everybody. See ya.